This is part 2 of my narcissistic family dynamic used mental health, judicial, and religious institutions against me as an act of coercive control. Hello, my name is author Deanna L. Lawless, and this is my story. On part 1 of how narcissistic families use institutions against the scapegoat, we discussed mental health institutions, and I shared my story on what happened with my parents sending me to a mental health facility. On this episode, part 2, we will be discussing judicial institutions, and I will be telling you my story on how my parents used the judicial system against me. As I've said in prior videos, I grew up in an alcoholic household. Both of my parents were alcoholic, and my mother was physically, emotionally, and mentally abusive, whereas my father was emotionally and mentally abusive as well. I was the scapegoat of the family dynamic, and of course that means that I grew up never feeling good enough for any situation and attempting to always align myself with the family system. By the age of 15, I was married and had one child. By the age of 19, I had 3 children with the man I was married to. And by the age of 27, I had 4 children. I married into another dysfunctional family dynamic, whereas my husband was found as he aged to be schizophrenic, which carries with it narcissistic traits. He was also physically, emotionally, and mentally abusive, not just to myself, but also to our children. This was me continuing the pattern. We remained married for a total of 13 years, and by the time I left him, I was even more downcasted than I was before marrying him. I began using alcohol to numb the pain, and this led to my parents utilizing the judicial system against me in order to take custody of my children. From the moment they began utilizing the judicial system against me, I immediately began doing exactly what was requested of me through the courts to gain back custody of my children. I immediately realized that I had allowed my depression to take first place priority over the care of my children. And this is the only reason why they were able to use the judicial system against me successfully, was because I gave them the leverage to do so. After 1.5 years to reclaim custody of my children, the courts decided to close the case, leaving my children in the custody of my parents, because my mother concocted another scenario. Even though I had completed everything that was required of me, I was dating a man whose daughter and my son liked each other. My mother suggested to the courts that it was not a good idea for my children to return home with me in case they were both up underneath the roof at the same time. Because of this, it took me a total of 5 years to regain custody of my children. Number 1, I own responsibility for my shortcomings, and I did everything that I could do to correct what I had done, including sincerely apologize to my children for the trauma that put them through. My children know to this date that they can still come to me and talk to me openly about the situation. 2, what is not normal is family systems utilizing institutions against their children. This has been part 2 of narcissistic families who use institutions against the scapegoat. Part 3 will be based on religious institutions. Stay tuned, and thank you for listening.